Hi guys, this is Wizard One Canada bringing you the full review of the Chuwi Hi10 Pro 2-in-1 tablet PC. I'm sorry this review took so long. It was delayed because I really wanted to show you guys the unboxing where I can also test the HiPen H2 stylus for this tablet. I had to order it from eBay, which took a little while, and I finally arrived recently. I also bought a Patek OTG Type-C adapter, as well as their portable USB 2.0 CD-R/DVD ROM drive to further test on this unit, which you will see later on in this review. Giving you guys a heads up now that this is going to be a rather long review, as I have to test quite a few things on this tablet in the Android and the Windows platform. If there are specific things you want to see but don't want to watch the entire video, I have created some index shortcuts in the description below, which will allow you to jump to specific parts of this review that you want to watch. So I'm not really going to go too deep into the specs of this tablet, but I'll quickly run through them, as I did go through the specs in the unboxing. So the Chuwi Hi10 Pro is a tablet with a 10.1-inch IPS 1200p screen, which dual boots Windows 10 as well as Android 5.1 Marshmallow using Remix OS 2.0. It runs Intel Cherry Trail Z8300 CPU, which is a 64-bit quad-core 1.44 GHz processor, and it's supported by 4 GB of RAM and 64 GB of internal storage, which is shared between the two OSs. It has Bluetooth 4.0, USB Type-C, and also a stylus function. The entire unit itself is powered by a 6500 mAh non-removable battery. The keyboard itself, let's take this off. The keyboard itself is an adjustable metal skin mechanical keyboard, which uses pogo pins and magnets to dock with a few models of Chuwi's tablets, that being the Chuwi Hi10 Pro, which is this tablet here, the HiBook, and the HiBook Pro. It features two additional USB ports here and here, as well as a trackpad on the bottom here that have they're clickable on the bottom to simulate mouse clicks. Together, the keyboard and the tablet itself have a combined weight of just under 1 kilogram. The tablet itself is 8.8 millimeters in thickness, and when combined with the keyboard, it's about 12 millimeters in thickness. Personally, I love how this keyboard can be used as a pseudo stand for this tablet. While I was streaming Kodi on this device, it's an invaluable tool that allows me to comfortably watch shows while having this just sit in my lap, rather than me holding on to the tablet itself. The built-in touchpad itself is quite responsive, as you can see here, and quite accurate, and I really like how they incorporated the left and right clicks in the actual bottom parts of this tab of the trackpad. One negative I would like to point out is that because of the physical size limitations of the keyboard itself and the size of the trackpad, there are going to be times where unavoidable times where when you're clicking, like right now, right, when if I'm tapping on this, because parts of my hand touch the trackpad, it does sometimes trigger the trackpad inadvertently. It is an issue. However, in the settings you can disable the trackpad, which would help, and then you can put a wireless mouse like I have here, which will allow you to basically operate it without having to use the trackpad. I don't know why it's not working right now, but it was working before. Let me just unplug that and plug it back in. Okay, there we go. So you can see that the mouse is working if you don't want to use the trackpad. So the first thing I wanted to address is what I think is one of the most important aspects of any electronics this day, and that's whether or not it's a cell phone or a tablet, and that is the question of battery life. I'm happy to report that the internal 6500 milliamp hour battery does a great job at powering this unit. As you can see here from my screenshot, I was able to basically run this tablet straight for about 4 to 5 hours streaming TV shows on Kodi, while at the same time you can see from this screenshot here that it takes about 4 hours or so to fully charge this device using the supplied 3 amp charger. So the 2 weeks I've been using this, well now it's 3 weeks I've been using this, the battery has been performing quite consistently without any noticeable degradation to the battery life. Next we will look at the build quality and the construction of this tablet. The tablet itself feels great in the hand to hold. It doesn't feel cheap at all. It has a metal skin, which does make me feel very careful whenever I need to handle this, and it makes me very cautious when on the types of surfaces that I place this tablet on. As a rough surface like a stone surface or a concrete surface would undoubtedly leave undesirable scratches and noticeable scratches on the back of this metal panel. It originally comes with a plastic screen protector, which is already installed on this, and which you saw me taking off in the unboxing. However, I do prefer using H9 glass protectors that aren't prone to marks and scratches, as you can see basically just all along the screen here. Unfortunately, I have yet to receive my glass protector, which I already ordered on eBay, so I'll be just using the one that's already pre-installed on this for the time being. The screen itself is quite responsive to both touch as well as the HiPen 10. Speaking of the HiPen 10, let me quickly show how it works. So I actually bought two. If you can see here, I bought two of them. I want to just in case I lose one or whatnot, I bought two of them, both off eBay. Unfortunately, the one here is flawed and it doesn't work really well at all. But this other one that I have will work perfectly fine. So let me just quickly show you. So all you do is you turn it on using the button here. Let's go into Sketchpad. So while this is booting up, please note that there are actually two versions of the HiPen. There's the H1 and the H2. For all intents and purposes, we will focus on the H2, as this is the only one that is compatible with the H10 Pro. The HiPen H2 is an active stylus, which they say supports 256 levels of pressure sensitivity. So if you can see here, let me just tap this. So they said that basically if you press lightly, you get a light line, while if you press harder, you get a darker line. As you can see, there's really no. It doesn't actually do that. It just as you write, it just writes. Let me just quickly just use that. So it is responsive, but in general it works okay. It's not the greatest. It does not actually have the pressure sensitivity that they say, so no matter if you press lightly or press harder, it doesn't really have a noticeable difference in that. So besides that, there's really not really much else with this pen. If you're thinking of getting one, it is good for just navigation wise, but if you're looking to really, if you want to really do sketches and stuff on it, I don't really recommend you getting one of these, as it doesn't really work well with this tablet. Okay, software wise, let's put this back on. Software wise, the Remix OS 2 feels really snappy running on the H10 Pro. There's not really a lot of things preloaded onto it aside from Microsoft Office-like software suite. I put a lot of stuff on it myself. Overall, I'm pretty happy with how they customized the UI and made it more Windows-like. We have the desktop here. We have the start button here. Oops. We have a start button here, as well as a task tray here, which allows you, like, if you want to clear your memory really quickly, you can. In terms of storage, the 64 gigabytes is shared unevenly between the Android's partition and the Windows partition. If we go look in here in the settings, actually just not go into settings, just go into the file manager here. You'll see that there's basically 12.7 gigabytes free on the tablet itself. The rest of it is allocated to Windows. I do have a micro SD card in there, so that helps a lot in terms of storage space. This is fine, as Android itself typically takes less storage space than regular computers and whatnot, and the apps themselves usually top out at about 1 to 2 gigabytes, so it's not really a big deal that they allocated less space to the Android portion of it. After loading all my regular apps into the device, we are getting an Antutu score of... So this is run after I ran the everything I installed on it, and it came up with a score of 57,729, which is respectable for this tablet. Oops. Close that off. Okay. Sound-wise, the dual speakers on the sides here. Let me show you them. So there's dual speakers on the side here as well as here. So sound wise, the dual speakers on this have decent sound, and the IPS screen is relatively crisp and clear. Let me quickly demo you Back to the Future in 1080p so you can see the quality of the screen as well as the onboard speakers. I'll also try to test it on a Bluetooth speaker as well. So let me just quickly use this. It does support OTG, so that's what I'm using an adapter to plug in my flash drive. Okay, let's not use Back to the Future. We'll use Ocean's 11.
Saw you at the paddock before the second race, outside the men's room when I placed my bet. I saw you before you even got up this morning.
So we have the video playing, and you hear that the speaker sound is okay. It's not the greatest, but it is loud enough and it's clear enough for you to understand. I'll quickly just go into let's turn this on and go to connect via Bluetooth. I think it's connecting now. Nope.
Amen, so.
1 second.
Never better. The orange. My doctor says I need vitamins. Come here to give me a fist. Buck seats, come on.
So you're going to tell me? Or should I just say no and get it over with?
So you're the best there is. You're gonna
Nothing. I got a duplex now. I got wall to wall and a goldfish. I'm seeing a nice lady who works the unmentionables counter at Macy's.
Okay, so you hear that the Bluetooth output is really deep and good. It's a matter of the speaker itself. The internal speakers themselves aren't the greatest, but you can still at least hear and see, well, at least hear everything. And you can see that the screen is really responsive. The colors are nice, and it can run at 1080p. So let me just quickly get out of there now. Okay. So one thing I also want to note is that some people have mentioned that Bluetooth causes some sort of interference when it comes to using it while there's Wi-Fi simultaneously. From my tests, you can see that it's a little bit true. Bluetooth playing music, my speeds will show as follows. So, where's my speed test? So this is going to be the speed test without the Bluetooth speaker connected. Okay, so that was with it connected, without it connected. So now if I were to turn this speaker on and let it connect, okay, so it's connected now. If I was to run the exact same test again, okay, so what I will do is, so for some reason you'll see here that the speeds are slower than what happens if you're running without the Bluetooth. I'm not sure exactly why. I guess the frequencies are similar, so they're interfering with each other. So you'll see that in previous test 2 is about the same. I ran at 21 without the Bluetooth on, and then with the Bluetooth on I ran at 15. With this time I tested, we ran it at 25.9 megabits per second when we're running without the Bluetooth on, and with the Bluetooth on it turns out to be only 17.44 speed. So it's not horribly slower, but it's one thing that you really should notice, I guess, for that. While this problem exists, it doesn't really make a big difference in terms of usability of the tablet. Lastly, I want to show you how the tablet actually handles games. So this is going to be a little odd because I'm not used to playing with such a large tablet. But let's just continue here. CPU. Okay, this doesn't allow drawing over other apps, so we'll just quickly just run on Asphalt here. We'll take this off. So you can see it actually loads pretty quickly and smoothly. Let's see how it runs on the actual tablet itself when you're actually playing. Oh crap, okay. I didn't see that, I was too busy watching the screen. But you can see there that it runs Asphalt 8 really smoothly, and the pictures are really nice. There's no really lag in the screen, so it runs really smooth. Okay, so let's put that back on first, and let me just zoom back into this. There we go. Okay, so now we're going to switch over to Windows portion of the review. So all you really need to do if you want to switch over to Windows is you click on the app tray here and the power button here, and you can see Windows right there. You just click on Windows and it'll switch over to Windows. Okay, so now we got Windows up and booted. This is where we're going to really do most of our majority of tests and benchmarks for this tablet. I'm not going to really talk too much about the sound quality and the display quality, as we addressed that and you saw that in the Android mode. So let's quickly just do that and go into the unit. Okay, so first of all, I'd like to mention that I've read some reviews on the Hi10 Pro that the USB Type-C port only transfers at USB 2.0. However, after I went on Amazon and bought this Patek USB-A to USB Type-C adapter from Amazon, and I plugged it into my PNY 128GB turbo USB 3.0 flash drive. Okay, so this is the Crystal Disk Mark benchmarks I did using the adapter with the USB 3.0 thumb drive in the Type-C port here. As you can see here, I'm getting full USB Type 3.0 speeds. It's not a problem, so I am getting full speeds on 3.0 using the 100 megabyte file sizes. You can see here when I use the 1 gigabyte file sizes, they basically the score is basically the same between the two, so definitely it's USB 3.0 speeds here. One more thing I want to note is that when talking about the USB ports, is that only the Type-C port is used for charging the tablet. All other ports are USB 2.0 and they are used for data transfer and powering external drives only. How do I close this? Okay, so speaking of data transfers, I recently also bought Patek's portable USB 2.0 CDR DVD ROM drive, and I wanted to test it out and see if it will actually work on the Hi10 Pro. During my test, I discovered that it would connect fine under the power of the USB ports here. However, when it comes to actually trying to burn or play back using the drive, there wasn't really enough power to do both. It just dropped off from the devices. So I actually had to connect it to a portable power bank, and it works perfectly fine. So let me just test it out now by burning some MP3s onto a CDR and actually show you some playback after, as well as some playback on some video that I made on a DVD. Pick up the drive basically right away, so you can see the drive there. So let's just put in a CDR. So we have a CDR here. So you can see here the partition, as I mentioned before, out of the 64 gigabytes, about 13 gigabytes was given to Android, and the remaining amount, which is 41.1 gigabytes, was given to Windows. So it detects the CD right away. So let me just quickly try burning some music. Let's go here, go to a PC, go to this SD card. So this is a 24x speed CDR burner as well as a DVD-ROM. So it can't burn DVDs, but it can play back DVDs. Okay, so that's done burning now. So if we just go into here now, open Explorer. So all burnt. Let's just play some of the music directly off the disc. Okay, so you can see that playback on the drive for CDs is good enough for USB 2.0. Let me just quickly eject it and put in a DVD that I burnt earlier today. Okay, so this is a DVD that I burnt earlier today. For this one, you can see that sometimes the speaker sound, even if it's maxed out, it still isn't that loud. Okay, so you can see that regardless of what you put into this drive, this little drive here, it works great. It's really smooth, which really surprised me, as I expected that it might not actually support this on the tablet itself. Next, I'd like to show you the micro SD card in fact does operate under the well, you can see it here that it does operate under Windows and previously the Android mode without needing to eject or reinsert it back into it every time you switch over to different OSs. There was quite a few people that said that that whenever you want to switch over or use the card on the other OS, you had to eject it and put it back in, or the tablet wouldn't recognize the card, but clearly this is not the case. Okay, so next I would like to test how the Hi10 Pro fares when running more complex and graphic heavy games. The Windows 10 platform itself is perfect for tests, as the Android environment is quite limited by the games and the apps available. Before actually getting into the gameplay, I would like to show you the Geekbench and the 3D Mark benchmarks for this unit. Actually, I didn't do the Geekbench, but I did do the 3D Mark bench, so give it a sec to load. Okay, you can see from the Skydiver 3D Mark that I ran on this device, it came up with a score of 703. Obviously this is not a power PC, so 703 is basically a really basic score. You can see here also I ran CloudGate, and CloudGate came in at 1141, which again is not a really high score, but considering what this tablet has on it, it's respectable. So now we're going to actually look at actual gameplay. So the first game we're going to test is Guild Wars 2. Okay guys, so this is Guild Wars 2 running on the Hi10 Pro. As you can see, it is a little choppy, but it's still playable. I can still move around and jump around and whatnot. Let me try to move to a different place of the map so you can see it clearly. Let's go to... Hopefully it doesn't take too long to load. So because the Guild Wars 2 takes up about 25 gigs of storage space, I clearly do not have that much space on my computer. Not on my computer, but on the HiBook 10. So I'm just going to probably just show you this demo video, and then after that uninstall the game, and then install maybe Guild Wars 1 instead, just to give you an idea. But you can see here it is choppy, but it's still somewhat bearable, somewhat playable. It's a little odd because I'm playing on a smaller tablet keyboard rather than a full-size keyboard. Not really used to playing this on a regular size keyboard, small size keyboard, but you can see here that it is a little choppy, but still somewhat playable. Alright, so that was the Hi10 Pro running Guild Wars 2. Okay, so I'll show you the rest of it now. Okay, so now that you saw how the Hi10 Pro handles Guild Wars 2, now I'm going to show you the less graphic intensive Guild Wars 1. Okay, so as you can see, it loads a lot quicker and runs a lot more smooth than on than running Guild Wars 2, because Guild Wars 1 is just far less graphic intensive. But you can see here the graphic looks nice, sounds are good, and it's really smooth and not choppy at all. You can see here that in general Guild Wars run really smoothly on the Hi10 Pro. There's really no lag. Aside from that, I think that's really it regarding the review for the Hi10 Pro. To summarize, the Chewy Hi10 Pro has put a lot of time into an effort into building a really well-rounded tablet that is able to handle nearly anything you can throw at it. They have included generous amounts of internal storage as well as RAM to allow for this. The IPS screen is extremely sharp and clear. However, the built-in stereo speakers could be better. They aren't horrible, but they could be better. They have also given this tablet a really premium feel with its metal shell and its optional accessories. Avoid getting the Hi-Pen 2 if you really don't need it, because it doesn't work as advertised. It works, but it doesn't work with pressure sensitivity and whatnot. The Hi10 Pro offers great battery life, and I can definitely see myself carrying this around with me. Just be wary regarding the touchpad, as sometimes it can get in the way and do things that might be unintended. Thank you again for watching. This has been Wizard One Canada, bringing you the full review of the Chewy Hi10 Pro 2-in-1 tablet PC. Thank you for watching. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe to my videos. Thank you for watching again, and I hope to see you again in my next review.